Hey guys, it's Moo. Welcome back to another Summer's Greed guide where I show you how to create macros on BlueStacks, which is an Android emulator on PC to efficiently play this game. Today we're going to be covering how to farm Power Stones by playing the challenge mode Evil Summoner. To understand how this map works, you just need to know a few things. Always play hard mode because it gives many more power gems, and that's the whole point of playing this map in the first place. There's three waves in this mode, so it's quite a short challenge actually compared to every other map in this game. The first wave consists of just these small golems here, and then the second wave has one big golem plus the small golems, and then the final wave has the small golems plus one big golem plus one boss golem. The other thing to know is that the evil summoner, who's in the top right here, will randomly freeze our units during each wave, and then at the end of each round, the evil summoner will also randomly remove some of our placed units, as you can see from the two loops that are going on right now. And we won't be able to resummon those monsters until the very end of the challenge, so at the end of the three waves, once you restart the entire challenge. So going on to now the macroing of it. So in order to actually make a macro for this map, we need a couple things. The first thing is we need to have predictable timing for each wave. And the second thing is we can only use a total of 9 units to fill up each of these spots. In terms of predictable timing, we don't want to use units that freeze like Archimedes or Jiraiya, which slows and then stuns like Slime King or Osiris. Um, these units will also cause wave 3 to be much longer than it needs to be. We also want to add a few seconds to each wave in terms of our timing, just in case our units get frozen and it slows down the wave clear by a little bit. Because if you underestimate the timing, then your macro will just not work some of the time, and then it will mess up the entire loop. To be more efficient without using as many units, we want to do a few things. So we can use long range attackers to allow efficient wave clears without using too many monsters. We use buffing monsters, so Horus and Speedy to increase attack speed, attack support, which are the cats, as well as Hellhound. And then we have Anubis and Deathbite to make it easier for all the other attacking monsters to do more damage. And this helps you clear waves faster, but also to let you clear waves in the first place, to be honest. Like for wave 3, I found that you actually do need Speedy with Felina in order to clear wave 3 reliably. We use our stronger monsters for wave 2 compared to wave 1 so that we can clear the big golem faster compared to wave 1, which doesn't have that big golem. We use Raw in wave 3 to avoid Felina getting frozen because that will mess things up as well. I use Felina in wave 3 because she already reliably clears wave 3. That way I can use Amaterasu, which is basically a stronger version of Felina for wave 2 to help clear that faster. And finally, use Power Gem charms on all the monsters that actually do damage. And if you want to know how to actually get those charms, then you can take a look at my Masters Challenge video because that's how you get the Power Gem charms. So just in summary then, these are the monsters that you should be basically choosing from in terms of your 9 units, depending on what you have available to you. So you can see on the left side, this is the my ideal version of clearing this map. That's having all the important monsters. But if you don't, then you can see in this bottom right um, video, this is where I didn't have the Japanese mythical monsters. So then I had to use things like Mr. Flamey, King Slayer to clear the map with the 9 units total. I'm just going to give a few examples of other setups that I've seen, especially on Discord, that other people have suggested, but I don't necessarily agree with them. So you can see here, for wave 1, they suggested in the second row to use Horus and Jiraiya. Then wave 2, they replace these two only if they get taken away by Evil Summoner with, oh sorry, this should be Speedy and Archimedes. And then wave three, they'll use Raw and Amaterasu. So I don't like this setup basically because you have, uh, Jiraiya and Archimedes, which is a slow and a freeze. So they don't actually slow down wave one and wave two, but for wave three, if either one of these are actually still present, like Evil Summoner doesn't take them away, then it will slow down that third wave significantly because the final boss, Golem, doesn't care how much damage you do to it, it will never die. So it just keeps on walking until the very end of the map. So that's any sort of stun or freeze or slow is just going to make that wave much longer. A second setup that I've seen is using Hanzo in the first wave, then, oh my gosh, and then again Jiraiya for the second round, and then you have the Raw, Amaterasu, and Horus for third wave. Again, I don't really like this setup because the use of Jiraiya, which is a very good slow, probably the best slow in the entire game. It is a little bit better than the first one that I showed you. The main reason for that is it actually only uses each unique spot one time, so the macro would actually work, it's just not ideal. And then we have my ideal setup, which you can see on the left side. So I just put it here so you can see it. Um, and then, yeah, so you can see, like I said, this setup here is before I had the Japanese mythical monsters. And if you want to see how you actually can get the Japanese mythical monsters or any mythical monster that you want efficiently, you can take a look at my other video about mythical monsters because I show you how to do that. All right, now to actually show you how to set up this macro, if you take a look at, the loops, you can kind of get an idea of how I'm doing it. But if you take a loop here, I took a screenshot of the different macros that I set up in order to actually do this. So the first thing is I just click on the bottom right corner here twice. This is just to buy a little bit of time because over time I think BlueStacks will lag a bit, and the bottom right when you are um, in the main map selection screen doesn't click on anything. So it's just a way to buy time. Then we have wave 1A. Wave 1A is this part here. So I'm just clicking to get rid of all monsters from the map because whatever monsters are left over, which will be at least these three monsters down here in wave 3, but also whatever else was not taken away from Evil Summoner, we need to get rid of everything so that we can reset the entire map. Then wave 1B is just clicking on our monsters for our first wave, which is Hanzo and Horus. Then you have, I just call it final move 10 seconds because I'm just clicking on the spot where it says final move after wave 3 at the very bottom there. And what that does is it just buys time for the entire round. On BlueStacks, if you don't do this step, then it will just skip over to the next step without any time, which then it doesn't make any sense. So I set it for 10 seconds just to make it easy, and then I time how long it takes for the round to actually take. And so, for example, I've set 30 seconds for the first wave, 30 seconds for the second wave, and 70 seconds for the third wave. This will differ depending on your specific setup, the level of your monsters, but you just have to time it one time. I would add a few seconds just so that like I said before, you don't run into the situation where it's slightly too slow and then your macro just ends up being out of sync with the maps and then it just won't work. Okay, and then wave 3, you're just setting up your monsters for wave 3, and again, you're doing your clicking of the final move. This one uh, is going to be a little bit longer because it goes all the way until the end of the collecting the charm phase. And then I just have a single click to click on collect charm. And then this is after it goes back to the main map screen, you click on challenges in the bottom left corner, and then you click on hard mode. So it's just two clicks, one and two. So this is to run uh, the challenge one time. So I call it ES reset. And then if you want to loop the entire um, 5 waves, because basically every time you use whenever you play one challenge, then it uses up one of 5 times that you can do it until you need to use gems to reset those 5 challenges. So then what you do is you put together a second macro, which runs the first macro 5 times because that uses up all of those 5 challenge rounds. And then you click on one button to reset those gems. And then again, you click on the hard mode so that you can restart the whole process. And this way, it's an infinite loop. So if you just take a look at the videos, you'll see how you do that. Just a few key points in terms of setting up these like wave 1B, wave 2, and wave 3. When you're clicking on the monsters in the menu, there's a couple things that I suggest. So the first thing is do not scroll because scrolling in BlueStacks, if you even lag a little bit, then it becomes inaccurate and then you'll end up clicking on the wrong monster. So then the macro just won't work. So instead, rely on anything that just is just clicking. So if you don't see the monster that you want on your screen, then you click through the filters or a different way of organizing it, like um, more like based on attack speed or your attack or your monster's level or rarity, so that you see the monster on the screen. So you'll see, for example, like for um, for the mythicals, it's easy, it's right at the top there. Um, but like for example, Mr. Flamey, I click on rarity so that it shows the common monsters first, and then Mr. Flamey will just be there. Um, and then when you're clicking on the filters and choosing which monsters to place first, you'll see that if you click on pirates, for example, then afterwards you click on legendaries, for example, then that will work out. You'll be able to see the legendaries. But if you do it the other way around, if you place your legendary monster first and then change the filter to pirates, then it will still show the legendaries first on your screen. So you won't be able to do it that way. So always do your pirate cats first, and then go from common to rare to epic to legendary to special monsters. And then whenever you want to do a mythical, just reset the entire thing. Um, so that you just, because the default is by showing the mythical monsters anyways. The other thing to keep in mind is in order to loop, you have to make sure that the screen, when you open up choosing a monster, is always going to be consistent. So the most important thing that I realized, one of the mistakes I made was that whenever you open up the monster screen, it stays at whatever settings you had before. So you have to make sure. What I do is at the end of wave 3, I always put in raw last, because then when it restarts on wave 1, then I have that initial screen where it shows mythical monsters with no filters on, and then I can put in Hanzo and Horus like I do for Wave 1. Same goes with Wave 2 or Wave 3. You just plan that accordingly. And then my last suggestion is that when you are creating the macros to place your monsters, I wouldn't actually do it in the Evil Summoners map, because then you only have one chance of doing it, and if you mess up, then you're just wasting your time and your gems. So I would just open up any other random normal map like Meat of Matter or um, JR Hard, because then you just have this screen and then you can put it in as many times as you want to make it as efficient as possible, with less time between clicks, so that all your clicks are as efficient as possible, and then you'll end up like this. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, then please like it and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.